Here we go. Welcome to the latest episode of Before Floor, our extension of Five on the Floor podcast, getting you ready for Game 3 in Miami. Milwaukee comes to Miami up 2-0. So we are excited to kind of unpack and preview that matchup. But before we do, want to tell you about the great sponsors of this pregame show. They've stuck with us through this entire run, and we love that. Want to start off by mentioning what you saw in the intro there, Biscayne Bay Brewing, local, support Miami craft beer. It's popping up more and more in every vendor that you can find. So, the official beer, the Marlins. I mean, so if you're in Miami and you're not seeing Biscayne Bay Brewing, you must be under a rock. So enjoy that. I've heard the pale ale is great. I've yet to get my hands on some, but I will take your guys' word for it. And they've been a great sponsor with us all season long. Also want to give a big time shout out to one of our loyal listeners and participators in the comments here. And that's Lynette, Aggressive Insurance Agency. Insurance by Lynette is what we often call her here in the Twitter sphere. But Aggressive Insurance is really, and Ethan talks about this a lot, how much she has helped him save and find insurance policies, particularly with people that have bad driving records. So don't be bashful. Every scenario can be worked out. You can find something that's right for you. Reach out to Lynette at Aggressive Insurance, 954-581-8800. You can also find her at Insurance by Lynette on Twitter, or reach out to any of us on the show and we can get you connected to her if you need insurance in your area. So today, the ultimate guts check. Down 0-2, you head back home. To me, initially coming out of Game 2, I felt dejected, and I've caught my second wind. I remember when the Heat came down 0-2 to Indy and they won 2 games. They didn't win that series in 0-4, but there's been other examples. Dallas is the famous one. So there's precedent here. Before we get into the magnitude of the game today, Brady, is there any lineup news, anything from an injury perspective on either side that you thought was worthy to bring to the show?
Yeah, there's no lineup news. As we know, Eric Spoelstra keeps everything in-house, and he doesn't tell anything. No matter if it's an hour before the game, he waits till the 30-minute mark to basically release his starting lineup. He was asked about it yesterday. First Goran was asked about, the possibility of him jumping into the starting lineup, and he kind of mentioned that that's a question they got to ask coach. And when, Spoelstra was asked about it, he basically said that lineups, don't really matter, and he gave the very Eric Spoelstra, answer where he Euro-stepped around the question. So I guess we're not going to know until that 30 minutes prior, but I guess if there's anything that we're going to look to that we're going to see differently, it's going to be that Goran Dragic, insertion that you mentioned, Greg, that, just seems like a viable option that you cannot go down early in this type of game.
Yeah, no, I think so too. I guess before we go to pivot to the next topic, does anyone here on this panel disagree with Goran Dragic being inserted into the starting lineup at this stage of this series? And also, do any of you foresee, predict, or would prefer to see any other starting lineup changes? Just shout it out if you got one.
Well, just one off the top of the head, I know some people have floated the rumor of Dedmon starting, but I'm just not sure how that would work as far as defensively. Having Ariza there instead of Dedmon, it allows for him to switch onto all three of the big three of Milwaukee as far as Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, and Giannis goes, although he does struggle with Giannis a little bit more. I do like that in the ability to get rebounds because we were absolutely dogged on the glass last game, but I'm not sure how that fit would work defensively.
Yeah, so you mentioned rebounds. Alfredo, before we started this show, tweeted out a really good statistic. If he has it, I'll let him read it. I'm putting him on the spot. I did not plan for that. So if you don't have it, it's all good.
I
But
got
it
it
really,
right.
I think, highlighted kind of what we've seen through the first two games. Alfredo, you want to kind of run through that?
Yeah, total rebounding percentage. If you know anything about the stat, it's when you're in the vicinity of the ball, who gets the ball. It's just it's a vicinity stat, but it's kind of an energy stat because it kind of shows you who's actually giving out more effort than not. Of all the backcourt players that actually were up against these three players for the Milwaukee Bucks, DiVincenzo, Forbes, Holiday. DiVincenzo has a 13.5% total rebounding rate, Forbes 16.2, Holiday 17.6. DiVincenzo actually has a 23.5 defensive rebounding rate. Out of the Heat guys, it's Duncan at 4.8, Hero at 6.4, Butler at 7.3, Dragic at 3.2, Nunn at 4.0. That is just there's not an easier way to show the lack of effort from these guys as far as boxing out and actually going to get rebounds. The Bucks backcourt has been a huge factor in this series physically, and the Heat has not matched that yet. It has to start there.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I do want to mention really quickly is that the Heat guys, that's been like the point of emphasis, obviously the offensive rebounding, but it seems like the Heat, Duncan Robinsons and Kendrick Nunns are basically told to get back into transition defense where they're not supposed to crash the offensive boards. It was something he mentioned in his own podcast that, he's like the lowest in the NBA in offensive rebounds, but it's a schematic thing that they want. They don't want the other teams running out into transition. So I don't know if that feeds into it. I don't think, like you mentioned the Jimmy Butler stat, I don't think that is a reasoning because I feel like Jimmy Butler isn't the one running back. Jimmy Butler's supposed to be one of the ones crashing as well. But that's definitely going to be a thing they have to fix up. And I think that's something that they're going to start sending more guys and not worry about the transition as much because it's just going to be a point of emphasis.
Yeah, no, and I think the bigger part of it, the huge takeaway for me, and Ricky, I'm coming to you next, is that the difference between Milwaukee's guards and Miami's guards, like that stark contrast just shows you that those guys are crashing in a way that Miami isn't, and they've played with a lack of intensity, and that's where I'm going next. So this is going to be the largest capacity crowd that the Miami Heat have had. They're going to be a late arriving crowd, so we can skip that. But in terms of like when the game starts to heat up, provided it's still close and no crazy stuff happens like in the first quarter of the last game, Ricky, do you think that there is some tangible stuff related to the Heat coming home to their biggest crowd of the season, needing something like that, a shot in the arm? That's a good reference in this calendar year. Do you think that stuff has legs? Do you think that a player like Tyler Hero will feed off of that? Or do you think that it's kind of like Milwaukee is so overwhelming at this point that that's not going to matter?
I think it's a mix of both. I think you're going to have a huge shot in the arm early in the first quarter. But once Milwaukee gets its bearings and smacks Miami in the mouth with their overwhelming talent, it's going to be really hard for the fans to overcome that sort of thing. At the end of the day, it's going to be decided by the players on the court. Okay, you're talking about two teams that are diametrically opposed in terms of how they go about finishing games and how they go about winning games consistently this season. We could see Miami play well, and the home court, and the home court advantage could very well help with that. But look, the AAA is not OKC. It's not that arena up north. It's not Staples. They make noise, but I don't remember fans or players in years past fearing the Heat fan. Like maybe online or something, but not at the arena. I don't remember hearing anything about that.
Funny. I think the building can get pretty loud at playoff time, particularly the Big Three era. And there were even some of those series against Toronto and Charlotte with Dwayne and Goran that I thought highlighted some of that. So I'm going to pivot to a different topic. We maybe touched on it a little bit, but I'm going to go to Jonathan here and pick his brain about, do you think it's viable that the Heat will find a way to size up in this game without necessarily having to do Dedmon and Bam together? Because like the more I think about it, the more I think that Trevor Ariza, Andre Iguodala, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy Butler, like those guys are maybe the opportunity to size up and you like kind of shelf a guard. Do you think that is viable, or do you think that Spo is really going to do this Dedmon Bam stuff?
Defensively, it would be viable, right? Because maybe you have Iguodala, who instead of Ariza can body up Giannis just a little bit more, right? But when it comes to the offensive end, this team would absolutely struggle. There wouldn't be any spacing on the court. Ariza's a pretty good three-point shooter, but that's when he takes them and it's set up for him, right? He doesn't really create those threes for himself. Same thing with Iguodala. If he's taking the three, that's probably the last guy you want, unless it's the end of the game, of course. But as far as that being a viable option, I don't think that's a viable option because if we start missing shots, right, and we're not able to set up our defense anyways, Milwaukee is going to be in that semi-transition, which they play so well in. So I think for us, it's going to actually kind of start on offense, making sure that we create good looks, making sure that we make the shot. That way we can set up defense going into the other side, going into transition.
I love that you said starting on offense because now we're going to go to Jimmy and Bam and what we want to see from them. Because I think that, like, ultimately that's where fans are at with this. Like, those are the two guys we thought that, okay, the others, we don't know if they're going to show up, and that's going to be the big variable to Miami making a run. And in the first two games, it's been Jimmy and Bam that have been kind of out of pocket. So I guess, Brady, I'll come to you here. Do you? What are your expectations for Jimmy? I don't really want to do the counting stats thing. Like 20, I think he's going to do 25, 5, and 5. But just to read on, like, do you think he's going to stick to the I'm getting everyone else involved first, or is this like a 40 burger from Jimmy type of night?
Well, I think he's always going to have that type of passive mentality to a certain degree. But I think there's a certain level that he's going to come out with aggression. I kind of mentioned that there's no way that he plays in 3 straight playoff games and struggles. This just seems like, the Jimmy Butler game has it written all over it. I think the local media have kind of focused in on Bam's aggression, where national people have kind of honed in on Jimmy's aggression. And I think it's a fair evaluation because I think that when he's, getting to the basket, he hasn't been doing that lately. He's been kind of timid with trying to take it in on people, trying to get to the free throw line. Even if they're packing the paint, it doesn't mean he can't get there, jump into people like he always has, and get to the line. So I think we see a lot more of that. I think the free throw attempts go up majorly. I'm not you mentioned not counting stats, but I think this is a game where he scores, a good amount of points because I think he's going to need to in this type of game. And one more thing I do want to say is that we kind of, label Tyler Hero as the guy that bounces off the crowd. A lot of guys do. But I think Jimmy Butler is like a guy that really does, play off the crowd a bit more than we kind of think. I think like when he kind of plays, we've seen in those games last regular season, just when it gets down to the wire, that he kind of has some extra bounce in him, that there, threes were falling late in games because he has some extra bounce in him. I think that could be something that we see just with the crowd.
It's a good point. And if it breeds confidence in the shooters, I think that they follow Jimmy's lead. So I'm on to you there. But Bam is the other big one. I feel like this is a game where we thought game 2 was like the moment of truth for Bam, and then that didn't work out so well. So here we are, game 3 at home. Alfredo, I'll go to you because you, I know, have longstanding history with all of the big men, all of the franchise players that have came through this organization. How big of a playoff moment is this for Bam? And if he does not live up to expectations today, what does that mean for him? Do you think that the fan base eventually is moving toward no longer having this like honeymoon with Bam Adebayo? Is that over? Is the Bam Adebayo honeymoon over?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's over. It was over with as soon as real expectations arrived for this team this season. And I'm sorry, you make the finals and you're going to get some expectations. You're going to be expected to put a real defense up for your Eastern Conference title. So I think he's going to hear the crowd, and the crowd could prod him into a little bit more of an aggressive posture, and that could be a good thing. Like if he misses another bunny or he passes up, a chance to be aggressive and take it to the rim on Brook Lopez, he could hear a few jeers from the crowd, and that could prod him because he's going to hear it on the bench. So, yeah, this is a pretty big moment for Bam Adebayo. We talked about it last time, but last time you always had that excuse. It's a 46-point first quarter. The game's over by the 10-minute mark. So, how are you going to judge him the rest of the way? Unless he goes and he scores 30 points and he draws the team a lot closer. So this is, he's starting from scratch essentially right here, and he could start to put away some of what everybody's been saying about him, especially this season. If not, if he has a bad series this year, it's gonna be an entire offseason talking about him trying to remake his game, maybe even remake his body, and maybe even getting him some help.
Yeah, Alfredo makes a really good point with regards to Bam, mainly because when you consider the fact that for most, if not all of the season, there's been a lot of pent-up energy in Heat Nation. You know, this entire season has come under the shadow of COVID, meaning for the most part, no one's been at the arena aside from maybe, a couple thousand people, barely. And when you consider all that energy's been pent up, a lot of people are taking that energy to Twitter. And now that these people are going to be able to pretty much practically fill up the entire arena, if Bam doesn't, like Alf said, if Bam doesn't perform, if people start seeing up close some of the stuff that has been so frustrating this season, then Heat fans, I'm not necessarily saying they're going to start booing, but you're going to start hearing frustrated groans. The only way we know for sure that will happen is just by looking at a few plays from, I think it was game 2, when Bam had an opportunity to attack. He passed it up, threw it over to Nunn. Nunn didn't realize Bam was going to pass to him, and you can visibly see a reaction on the bench from the Heat players when they saw that. And if the Heat players have caught wind, you know how tight-lipped this organization is. Yeah. That's going to give carte blanche to Heat fans to be like, Bam, what are you doing? Attack the basket. You know, what are we paying higher prices and tickets for to fund your contract? Like, it passes down eventually.
Yeah, no, I think you're right about that. And I think this is a huge game for Bam. I think he shows up in a big way. I think you guys all know I was going to say that no matter what, because that's just how I roll. So we're nearing the end of the show here. So I want to give everybody their last word. I'd also love to hear your pick. And then, you know what? I want to do something a little different too, but please keep it tight. We're working efficiently here. Anybody who arrives in Miami always has their most efficient years. So keep that in mind as you answer. What has been your favorite non-Heat playoff moment that's taken place so far? Because it's been I felt like the games have been a lot of fun to watch. So I'm interested to hear what you guys have taken away from the non-Heat games. But first, predictions for tonight, starting with Brady.
Yeah, I think this is a Heat win. I think this is a game, like I said, that Jimmy Butler just kind of takes over from the jump and is aggressive. I think it's going to be close, and I think we see a fourth quarter surge from Tyler Hero, who we very well know plays off the crowd. I think if there's anybody that's beneficial from this setting, it's him, and I think we see that tonight. And yeah, I think the Heat win by close in the fourth quarter after some late buckets.
And your moment, your non-Heat moment, and it's okay to say I don't watch any other games because some of us may do that, but
I thought you were talking about Heat regular season. Okay, you're talking about
non-Heat playoff moment so far from this 2021 playoffs.
Okay. Probably the.
No,
Lakers.
you answered the question right. I asked you 2 questions. Sorry.
I got you. I was just gonna say that I think the Lakers Suns probably was the best. You know, the back and forth, the Chris Paul getting injured. Not that was a good thing, by the way, but the Chris Paul injury into the LeBron injury with the back and forth, I think that was probably my favorite moment.
Alfredo.
Yeah, I think today could be one of those games where the Heat come out like a house on fire and the crowd gets behind them, and it looks like the Heat is ready to just blow the doors off the Milwaukee Bucks in Game 3, and then they slowly creep back into it, and the Heat hold on for dear life, and they scratch out a victory. My favorite moment of these playoffs, there's been many, okay, and there's been some really good games, but I think that Luka Doncic laughing at Pat Beverly for an entire half was pretty funny. I thought it was pretty funny because they just wouldn't take him off of him, and he's going to keep scoring on him. He's going to keep laughing at him and keep pointing at him, you know. And Pat Beverly gives enough that he can take it for one half.
Ricky.
Yeah, I don't see it. I think the house starts to burn down. Honestly, I think too many things like Bam playing to his ability, Duncan being an absolute marksman, Dragic scoring 15 to 20 points off the bench, Jimmy having a solid all-around performance, and Hero providing ample support as a third scorer, as well as Miami's wings, preventing the Bucks from having a great night from three. All of those things have to happen in order for Miami to have a chance and win this thing. The Bucks average close to 40% from deep and almost 50 rebounds a game. Even if you shave that down by a little bit, it's still better than what Miami can generally put together. The Bucks have a legitimate three-headed monster. Miami's second best scoring option isn't even a guaranteed force on both sides of the ball every night. Never mind a non-existent third option. The Bucks are, in my opinion, objectively, from top to bottom, a much better team than the consistently inconsistent Heat. I mean, it's one thing to want your team to win. I want Miami to win this series, but it's another thing to come to terms with the reality that Miami's best chance to make a real dent in this series was squandered in overtime in Game 1. I initially had the Bucks in 6. Right now, I'm not so sure that number hasn't gone down. We'll see tonight. Now, as far as my favorite non-Heat playoff memory or moment so far, I'd say Trae Young's game winner at the Garden. To be honest, great players do great things, and you got to perform at the Garden. It was a great moment for basketball. I'm a fan of the game before I'm a fan of any team, and to see Trae Young do what he did in Game 1 against the Knicks was really cool.
Jonathan.
Well, Ricky stole my moment because I was going to go ahead and go with that Trae Young moment. But since this is three-piece combo, we're going to go with three keys to the game today. Jimmy and Bam have to combine for 50, right? Those are going to have to be the most aggressive guys. I think as a team, we're going to have to make sure we keep the rebounding edge close. And third thing overall is keep Giannis under 40%. We did a really good job Game 1. I feel like the way we control Giannis and make him frustrated this game is going to be key to winning this game. And as far as the best playoff moment, I was going to say the Trae Young moment, but let's go with the Ja Morant Game 1 versus the Utah Jazz, man. He was going down the stretch, and he was carrying that team bucket after bucket after bucket. Although Utah was playing well, coming back, making that really close. For him to get that 8 seed win over the first seed, it just reminded me back in the day when Zebo and the Grizz took down, I think it was San Antonio in the first round as an 8 seed as well. So seeing this young Grizzly team led by Ja Morant is just fun to see. And the way he's developed his game so smooth and be able to finish around the paint, it's fun to see.
Yeah. Ja Morant, I mean, even in the game they lost last night, he was unbelievable. What did he drop? 46?
Yeah, 47.
47.
47? That guy is unreal. Hopefully he can keep crashing to the basket like that. You know, we saw that with Dwayne. I think the Heat get tonight. I feel good about it. I felt really bad about it after the last game. I said that earlier, but I'm coming around to the fact that I just think that they're going to squeak one out. It's not going to be easy, but one game at a time. They get this one tonight. I have the guts to call it. And my favorite playoff moment is Luka's one-footed three-point fadeaway looking shot that just was unbelievable. And I love watching him play. And I always remember back to I was talking to someone close with the organization before Luka was drafted, and I asked him, like, if Spo could pick anybody to build a team around, who would it be? And he was like, you know what? The guy's probably not even in the league yet. And I said, who is? And he said, Luka. Like, so it's just that always stuck with me how much Spo loved Luka, and they're Spo now. So thank you to our sponsors for sponsoring this program, Biscayne Bay Brewing and Aggressive Insurance by Lynette. Thank you for joining us. We're getting to press conferences now. Alejandro, cue it up. Thank you.
The stretch of years that this group has been together, and when they can get it, rolling and in their comfort zone, they can put up points in a hurry.
And then secondly, Goran said I had to ask you, because he didn't want to talk about it. More him on the floor, obviously, the way he's playing right now can't be a bad thing. Is there an anticipation of that, particularly earlier in games?
I mean, it's not about the lineups, right now. It's about collectively, us doing things better than certainly than we did in Game 2.
Next, we'll go to Tim Reynolds.
Eric, you've spoken many times over the years about how competition is kind of a fundamental, part of the culture, and how you enjoy uncomfortable situations because there's a history of embracing these moments and not running from them. Does that give you any sense of comfort going into tomorrow and what that game's going to mean?
I wouldn't say comfort.
Comfort's definitely wrong. I get that.
But these are the playoffs. So there's a lot of unpredictable things that happen, and Competition brings out everything. The best out of you, the worst out of you, probably everything in between. And we all want to respond. We all felt, that game 2 in particular stung. Both games really stung. But you have to move on. Give that extra day just to, live in that kind of whatever, But we got to get on. You got to get on, and we probably could have wished that this game was played today.
You're going to have 17,000 in the building tomorrow. I know you don't look around. I mean, I know you're focused on what's in front of you, but the fact that it will be as filled as can be, there's enough atmosphere back in this building for the first time in a long time. What sort of a bonus can that be?
I could speak for everybody in the locker room. We hope that the building is rocking. It's just been an extraordinary year, to go through everything and not really have the opportunity in front of our fans. Everybody in this league, has been a shame. And secondly, it's the playoff experience. You want to be able to have that.
Thank you.
Next, we go to Anthony Chang.
So with the way Milwaukee's playing Bam and Jimmy, I know the easy thing to say just to be more aggressive, but how tricky is that balance of taking that mid-range shot they're giving you, obviously, or attacking their length while also still, keep operating in the flow of what you guys are doing?
Jimmy and Bam, don't need to be taught, how to, what kind of reads and everything to make. They'll both be assertive. They'll both make plays for our team. We all know that we have to be better than we were.
Thank you, Spo.
And next we go to Cooper Moorhead.
Spo, I know the tape from game 2 probably wasn't all that useful, but as far as the opportunities they were getting from 3, especially in those first 2 quarters, what did you see on tape, and kind of are there any small things you guys need to clean up there?
Yeah, or small things, big things. I mean, that's what happens in a 7-game series. We have to do things, with more detail, more purpose. Offensively, get things in our wheelhouse. They're trying to take away things in our wheelhouse. That's what it's all about. This is competition. And you got to do what you have to do.
Next, we go to Ira Underman.
Eric, have there been particular factors in Tyler Hero's limited minutes, including 10 minutes in the first half in game 2?
No, it's not about the lineups. We all have to be better.
Has the foot injury? Has there been any physical impact there? And also his shooting struggles. Is that something he is not doing, or they are doing to him?
There are probably a lot of things that are true. We're probably saying that hey, keep giving us those looks. They're probably saying they're taking away. This is competition. We all got to be better, and that's what it's all about. He's ignitable. It can happen just like that, like a few of our guys.
Thank you.
All right, Coach. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Impacting things so well on both ends of the floor for Milwaukee. Clearly, that opens up everything else for them. So, as you review games 1 and 2, can you just kind of assess the things that they've been able to do so well on each end as a front court?
No, I got it. They're long. They pack the paint, so we need to get good looks. Both these games, the shots didn't fall in for some guys, and I feel like tomorrow we are due to have a good game. With the shooting game. Of course, the most important thing for us is definitely defense, and they kill us on the boards, so that's our main focus. Try to box out and make sure that we play good defense.
All right, next we'll go to Tim Reynolds.
Hi, Goran. Jimmy is sometimes almost to a fault. He can be a little unselfish out there. Do you guys almost need to flip it a little tomorrow and sort of tee him up early and try to get him going early? Try to have him see the ball go in the basket a couple of times in the early going.
Yeah, but I think so that he's been so many games that he knows what to do. It's been the second game was really tough for us. We're not shying away from that, but I think so. Both Bam and Jimmy and me and Duncan and Tyler and Kendrick, everybody needs to be more aggressive. I feel like they are playing more with aggression than us, so we need to flip that.
Thanks, G.
Next, we go to Cooper Moorhead.
Goran, just to follow up on that, with the style of defense Milwaukee plays, does it make it tough to be aggressive because they're sitting back and you know that if you go hard, you might end up in the spot that they want you to? Like, what is it about what they're doing that can make that aggression?
I'm gonna put it this way. If they want, like you said, if we are aggressive and they want you to put us in that spot, in first two games, we were not aggressive and we were never in those spots. So how would you know? You know what I mean? So I just want to see everybody be aggressive, and we'll see. We're going to find out when we're going to be in those spots. And from there on, you're going to try to, get the solution. And, maybe that's going to work against them. Maybe it's going to work for them. We don't know. But definitely, we have to collapse the defense. We have to attack the paint, and doesn't matter who's down there.
Do you feel like you have seen enough on film that you guys have the recipe, as far as getting the attempts at the rim up and getting more paint pressure on? You guys already kind of know going into game 3 what you need to do?
Yes, we know. I'm not gonna say, that I would say our plan, but we know. We check, we check all 2 games, and we know where we need to find how we need to get those points and from where and from what kind of position. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Next, we go to Anthony Chang.
Hey, Goran. I'm guessing after Monday's loss, you guys probably wanted to play almost immediately and get back on the court. What's the wait been like for game 3 after what happened Monday, and what approach did you see from the guys on the practice court today?
Yeah, if you ask me, I would not like to play the next day. The heads are still hot, you're emotional and everything. I think so that yesterday was a good day for us, everybody, to clear our mind and, to analyze some stuff. And, today was a good practice. We practiced well. I think so we cover most of the things that we need to do. And hopefully, tomorrow we're going to show our real face.
And Duncan was talking about how it's kind of unorthodox the way they're crashing the boards on the offensive end, Milwaukee. What have you seen on film as far as what they're trying to do on the glass, and what challenges that present, for you guys?
I mean, first of all, they're big. You got out there, you got Middleton, you got Lopez, you got Giannis, then Portis, and even the 2 guards, Connington and DiVincenzo, they are crashing the board. So, it's not only on those big guys, Dedmon and Bam, to box out. Basically, it's all 5 guys. So you need to box out and get the rebound. And from there on, develop our offense.
Thank you, Ron.
You're welcome.
Next, we'll bring back Jason Jackson.
Goran, I apologize. You already said pretty clearly you're not going to give up the plan, but you on the floor a lot is really good for the team. Is there a possibility we see more of you out there earlier?
I don't know. That's a coach. You have to ask coach that question, Jax.
I plan on
it. My job is here to be ready, whatever he wants me to do. So I'm here for the team. I can't wait tomorrow. First time at home, playoff home after a while, after 1 year off. and 17,000 people. So I'm really excited for that.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack.
Next, we go to Brady Hawk.
Hey, Goran. Just some of the young guys like Tyler and Kendrick haven't played in this type of environment since the bubble was obviously unique. Just is there any specific advice that you're giving them in this current spot you're in, or are they just guys that are able to adjust rather quickly?
I just got one advice: enjoy it. Enjoy it. That's the only advice that I'm gonna give them. This is a unique situation. First time, like you said, first time for both of those guys to play in front of 17,000 at home. The fans gonna cheer. They're gonna cheer for us. So just enjoy, and I believe they're gonna be ready. So.
All right, G, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that was Goran Dragic talking about tonight's matchup, and we do have the starting lineup for the Miami Heat tonight. And Goran Dragic is going to be playing from the get-go. So it's Goran Dragic, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Duncan Robinson, and Trevor Ariza. Goran Dragic, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Duncan Robinson, and Trevor Ariza. That's the starting five for the Miami Heat today in the third game of the series, the first round against the Milwaukee Bucks. Let's go ahead now and listen to Duncan Robinson talking after practice and before this third game of the series.
The impact of the starting front court on the Bucks on their success so far.
Yeah, they particularly defensively do a good job protecting the paint. They've done that since they've been playing together pretty much. And then offensively, they just have an impact with their ability to just kind of dominate around the rim. So, definitely gonna need more efforts across the board come tomorrow night.
All right, next we go to Tim Reynolds.
Hey, Duncan. This whole year has been such a roller coaster, really good times, some really tough times along the way. In a strange way, has that kind of prepared you for what I'm sure the mood has been like the last 48 hours? You guys can get into these situations, but you can get out of them as well. I mean, you've shown a propensity for, coming back when things don't look so great.
Yeah, you said it. We've had some peaks and some valleys for sure this year. And like you said, it's really about how you bounce back. And we've had stretches where the kind of valleys have lingered on and we haven't been able to kind of move through. But I think particularly towards the end of the year, we were able to kind of adjust and push forward. Obviously, we're facing some serious adversity right here, being down 2-0, but we're coming back to our home court. And like you said, that I think this team has a resilience to us. And we're going to have to bring that tomorrow night. And, I think the one thing is clear is that we're all very much on the same page with what we need to do here tomorrow night.
Next, we go to Anthony Chang.
Hey, Duncan. To kind of go with Tim's question there, Monday's loss will make things look probably worse than it is just because it was such a lopsided loss. But, game one was an overtime game that you guys could have won easily. How do you keep things into perspective that it's maybe not as bad as it seems right now, even down 0-2, that you guys still have 2 home games here to even it up?
Yeah, it's a challenge, like you said. The nature of that loss, we just kind of got blitzed, and basically, from the start of that first quarter, just put ourselves in a huge hole and never kind of got back. And I think it's a combination of understanding that we're obviously capable. We were right there in game one. There's no moral victories, obviously, in this, and that we got to put it together for 48 minutes. We can't have a lapse in effort, energy, playing with our minds, all that stuff. Like we really got to bring it. And obviously, we know that, but like you said, it can't be. We can't let Monday night beat us twice in the same breath. We got to obviously learn from it, understand that type of performance obviously is not going to get it done, and move forward and just do whatever we can to get this one tomorrow, whatever it takes.
And with the way they're crashing the glass, it seems like they're sending everybody to the offensive glass. So what's the solution to that? Because at the same time, I'm sure you guys are trying to get to the other end of the court too, to get some maybe transition points if possible. Like what's the solution to kind of playing against their rebounding scheme and what they're trying to do in this series?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I think really gaining an understanding of what it is that they're trying to do. Like you said, it's a little bit unorthodox in some possessions to literally crash everybody. So, you got to adjust there first, and obviously we've watched it over and over, and then, of course, from there it's just going to require big time efforts, and we all acknowledge that and know what it is, and know that we're capable.
Thank you, Duncan.
Sir.
Next, we go to Kobe Price.
Hey, Duncan, you mentioned earlier that everybody's on the same page in terms of what needs to happen tomorrow. How much is this being viewed as a do or die game? Not because, you guys are facing elimination, but more so because of the history in this league of teams, in the position you guys are at, being down 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, after you drop the first two, the sense of urgency, of course, increases come game three. Whatever you want to call it, to take a look at the history or just the fact that, we have a good team on our home floor and an opportunity to play in front of a packed place and, just simply play better than what we played in these first two. So, yeah, I mean, of course, the urgency's high. It's almost, come playoff time, like everything feels like a must win in many cases. Certainly preparing like it is, that's for sure.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Next, we go to Josh Moser.
Hey, Duncan, how much is this game more about what you guys need to do versus what the Bucks are trying to do to stop you?
I mean, I think like any game, it's a combination of two, or both those things, game planning, making adjustments, understanding what they're trying to do, and then, trying to limit it, trying to neutralize, their attacks and understand, offensively, what they're trying to accomplish and kind of the physicality that they're trying to play with. So, I think it's a give and take, like anything, but, at this point, we're relatively familiar with this team just in general. We played them a bunch, played them last year in playoff series. So obviously, things are a little bit different this year, but now coming into game three, we've already played them twice. So there's pretty good clarity around, what's going to be required in this one.
Next, we go to Cooper Moorhead.
Duncan, they're obviously committing some hefty resources and a lot of their defensive length towards keeping Jimmy out of the paint. Is this, I guess you could look at it two ways. Is this a situation where the other four guys in the lineup need to do things to loosen things up for Jimmy and help get him going downhill? Or is it the Bucks are doing this with Jimmy, now we need to take advantage of the spaces that we're being afforded?
I think it's a give and take, right? I mean, I think that obviously, they've, as you mentioned, they've made a concerted effort towards protecting the paint. That frees up other areas that I think we're able to exploit. At the same time, I mean, you guys know Jimmy, he's as persistent as it gets. And despite whatever happens in games 1 and 2, I'll never count that man out. So, I think that he's going to continue to be who he is. At this point, you can't, reinvent the wheel in a lot of senses. You got to kind of make adjustments here and there for sure, but also stick to what makes us great as a team. And that's playing through Jimmy, that's playing through Bam, getting to them to the rim in the painted area where they're the most effective, to the free throw line, and then us guys around them just doing our jobs. As you said, making it easier on them by providing space and putting stress on the defense in different ways. So we might get a couple actions and then get them on a third or fourth action in a possession where they become that much harder to guard.
Is this right now? Does this feel like a code you're trying to crack, or have there been examples on tape in games 1 and 2 where you see, we got somebody in the paint here, we got a good shot at the rim, we just need to keep doing more of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've had success in spurts for sure. Game 1 was kind of an ugly in the mud type of game, which we feel like we're comfortable playing and playing in. Game 2, it can kind of almost be hard to evaluate just because of the nature of that game. But there's definitely a recipe there. It's just about continuing to be diligent and persistent. Every possession, can't let them off the hook, and understand what we're trying to accomplish. Be super connected on both ends, and just make it difficult for them.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next, we bring back Tim Reynolds.
Dunk, it's weird that I think tomorrow's like your 26th career playoff game, and it's going to be your first in your home building. With 17,000 there tomorrow night, just I know what matters is what's on the floor, of course, but are you a little curious, a little eager to see what that vibe, what that energy is going to be like, and with the building kind of back to pre-pandemic levels?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited. First and foremost, it's a really, really great opportunity. We might be down 2-0, but we feel really comfortable playing in this building, and particularly to have all these fans back, I think it's going to give us a boost as well. So we're just excited for the opportunity. Obviously, even coming back here, nothing's guaranteed, but we're just excited to put that game 2 behind us. That's for sure. And just come out with energy, effort, and give these fans hopefully something to cheer about.
Thanks, Duncan.
All right, Duncan, that's it.
That was Duncan Robinson talking about this game 3 of the series. For all of you that are just getting here for our pregame show, this is the starting lineup for the Miami Heat tonight. Goran Dragic, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Duncan Robinson, and Trevor Ariza. So Goran Dragic coming in for Kendrick Nunn, the same lineup as the other 4 guys: Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Duncan Robinson, and Trevor Ariza. Now let's go ahead and listen to what Jimmy Butler had to say about Game 3 of Game 2 and what happened there during Game 2 of the series a couple of nights ago in Milwaukee.
So they got off to a fast start, hit the 10 threes, and kind of set the tone. How would you kind of explain what happened in those first few minutes of the game?
Hell, they imposed their will, did what they do best, get out in transition, and they made a lot of shots. But we didn't make anything difficult on them, didn't take anything away. The game got out of hand pretty early.
And, you've been pretty critical of this team at some points this year, and there's been a lot of highs and lows. What's your message to the team after a game like this, and kind of what do you hope to learn about this team, next 8 hours or so?
That it's never that bad. We're not going to say that it's all good either, but we know what we have to do better. I think the bright spot is I don't think you could play any worse.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Next, we'll go to Ira Winderman.
Jimmy, Coach said he's got to do some things to help you and Bam get going a little bit more. Do you think that's the case, that it's something systematically that has to change, or you think it's on you and Bam individually?
I think we know what we have to do. I think sometimes we get a little lost in getting everybody involved, and that's not a bad thing. I think that's what's made myself and him a really good player in this league. But I think at times you got to go, myself especially. We get it, we understand, man, but we rely a lot on our teammates to get them to rock as well. I don't think that we can get away from that, but maybe we just got to impose our will a little bit more, be a little bit more aggressive.
I know it's cliche, no rebounds, no rings, but when you see 61-36 and they have 21 offensive rebounds, how does that happen, and how do you prevent that from happening again?
I mean, they made majority of their shots, so therefore we couldn't get defensive rebounds. As far as the offensive rebounds go, when the ball is in the air, we talked about we're going to be the ones to get those, recover those. Same thing if the ball's on the floor. We did not do that. So it gave them extra possessions, extra cracks at it, and they capitalized.
Thank you.
Next, we go to Barry Jackson.
Obviously, the game, Jimmy, on Thursday will be determined by what happens between the lines. But do you think having a crowd by far the largest of the season can possibly help you guys on Thursday?
I don't think so. We love playing in front of our home crowd on our home floor, yeah, but we still got to go out there and play basketball the right way, compete, and do what we say we're going to do before the game, what we say we're going to do after the game. But, yeah, I guess it'll feel a little bit better, a little bit different at home. But we still got to go out there and handle business.
And is this Bucks team, in your mind, maybe much improved from the one that you all played last year? I know you don't like to look back to last year, but is this a clearly improved Milwaukee team in your eyes?
Both teams are a lot different. But, yeah, we don't get stuck on last year. We got to worry about the game that we got coming up and handle business that way. But with both teams being different, who knows? Anything can happen.
One last thing. What most didn't sit well with you tonight, as competitive as you are? Was it the rebounding? What most bothered you tonight?
The loss. I mean, everything that went into it, we did not win. We're down 0-2. But I'm excited because you really get the opportunity to find out what my teammates are made out of going into this next game. So we get an opportunity to play again and get it to 2-1.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Next, we go to Will Mansell.
Hey, Jimmy, in a game like that, when it gets away so quickly, there were some moments in the second half of clear frustration. How do you put that aside, the frustration and quite frankly, the embarrassment of losing a game like that for you guys with the pride you have and be able to play your best game in game 3?
I don't think nobody's embarrassed. I think that's just part of the game. They just whooped our tail. They did. But, you put this behind us. We got 2 days to get ready for this next one. I mean, I think you kind of got to just leave it at that. I don't think, frustration is going to change anything. I think you just got to compete a lot harder, do things the right way. But all in all, we realized we lost this game together. We went down. We are down 0-2. We're down 0-2 together. And whenever we get home, we're going to be together whenever we play game 3.
All right, that's it, Jimmy. Thank you.
All right, that was Jimmy Butler. Let's listen now from Bam Adebayo talking about that particular second game of the series. Remember, tonight, in a couple of minutes, third game of the series, Miami Heat against the Milwaukee Bucks. The Heat trying to avoid being down 3-0.
But what happened in this one that they not only got going like that, but you guys were never able to gain any traction?
It was just hitting a lot of shots. I mean, you got the crowd into it. Once you hit a couple and the crowd get to it, crowd gets into it, basketball looks like an ocean.
Coach said before he's going to try to do to get you and Jimmy sort of back into a rhythm. Is that something you think you guys need to do through sets, through approach or anything? Or do you think it's more just basically you and Jimmy just having to do more?
No, I just think we just got to pick our spots. Just ball not going in right now. In the gym, just keep shooting those shots, get the reputation, and at that point you go out there and keep shooting the same shots.
And then last one for me, the rebounding deficit, 61-36. Was that an effort thing? Was that their size? Was that the way the ball was falling with the longer shots? Sort of what made it so dramatic like that tonight?
They capitalized on, we was turning our heads and not boxing out. And, they was running in. They was crashing off 5 guys. So we just got to be mindful of that. They've done it the last 2 games. So it's been working for them, so I don't think they're going to change it. So we as a team got to adjust and adapt.
And then just one more. You got to play with Dwayne a little. We haven't seen a lot of that this season. What was it like playing with Dwayne? And was there a sort of chemistry there when it came to going with bigger lineups we don't generally see from the Heat? Thank you.
It was just good. It was good that he switched it up. That's one thing about Spell. He in the playoffs he's willing to switch it up. So it was good minutes to be in there with Dwayne. You never know. You might see more of that.
Next, we go to Barry Jackson.
Hi, Bam. Were you as aggressive offensively as you wanted to be tonight?
I started out the game pretty aggressive. You can always be more aggressive at the end of the day. I started out the game aggressive, looking for shots, and just need to continue doing that, getting to the free throw line.
You're a guy who obviously takes so much pride in what you do. Is your emotion right now disappointment with how not just you and the team have played? Is it frustration? What emotions are you feeling right now?
It's a lot. I mean, we definitely didn't expect to be down 2-0 in the playoffs. So, it's a lot of emotions going on, but at the end of the day, we all men, and we can figure this out.
Do you have to give yourself a pep talk at all, or are you still feeling confident in yourself with all of the growth you've had this year and as well as you've played all year up to this playoff series?
Say it again.
Do you have to give yourself a pep talk at all to lift your spirits, or are you still of a good mindset where you're feeling confident after all the good things you've done this season?
I don't think we need to give ourselves a pep talk. Craziest things have happened in this league. So, like I said before, we're grown men. So, at the end of the day, we're down 2-0. We got to figure it out. It's not giving us a pep talk or anything else. We know what we got to do. We know the adjustments we got to make.
Thank you.
Next, we go to Will Manso.
Hey, Bam, kind of on what Barry was saying there but from the mental side of things, obviously the physical side of things, you just got to make shots. It seems as easy as that. But from a mental side, is there a hurdle when you start to struggle and you're down 0-2 and all those things? Is there a part of that you have to kind of clear mentally to make sure you're ready for this game 3 and the challenge ahead?
I mean, basically get ready for game 3. It's not a mental thing because you never know. We can get in our arena and shoot the lights out. So we just got to be prepared.
All right, Bam, that's it. Thank you.
That's all that matters, people.
All right, that was Bam Adebayo. Let's finish here in our pregame coverage for the Miami Heat game tonight, the third game of the first round of the NBA playoffs with Dwayne Dedmon, the other guy that Bam Adebayo was mentioning here in this press conference. Let's listen to what Desmond had to say about the second game of the series.
Obviously, Spo has not used you with Bam a lot up until this point. Do you like that pairing and how you guys meshed together tonight, albeit obviously, not in a win?
I mean, I definitely like that pairing. I mean, it's definitely something the coach had talked about doing earlier, and finally did it, especially against their size in Milwaukee. So I feel like it worked out good. Hopefully, we can keep seeing more of that.
Thank you.
And next we go to Ira Winterman.
Wayne, obviously rebound. You always hear no rebounds, no rings. But when you see a deficit like this tonight, where you guys were out rebounded 61-36, how does that happen? And how do you prevent that doesn't happen again?
I mean, we just got to be more aggressive on the offensive and defensive glass and make sure that we're definitely boxing out their guards because they crash the offensive glass like no other team, especially the guards. So, I mean, we just got to box out, make sure they don't get as many offensive rebounds as they did tonight, and just move forward.
A lot of it is this league going downsized, and you have to be a mobile center, or you don't get to play, and the perceptions. But someone like yourself, would you feel comfortable if you were drawn to the 3-point line by Brook Lopez, or if you had to play the perimeter of game of Giannis like you have at times this series? Do you feel comfortable there? Like, are you almost like sort of people try to put you in a box, standard NBA, stand under the basket, big man? And would you feel comfortable if cast in those kind of roles in bigger minutes?
You're talking about me spacing the floor?
No, defensively, on the defensive.
Defensively, I mean, I feel like I'm capable of doing that. Like, that's not an issue that I have. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, just got to make sure I'm moving one way, contesting threes. So, I mean, I'm ready for whatever challenge we got. So that's not a problem at all.
Okay. Thank you, Dwayne.
Yeah.
Next, we go to Anthony Chang.
Hey, Dwayne, to go with Ira's question there, when it comes to spacing the floor, I know you made 1 3 tonight, and you've proven you can make threes, in your career. Do you see an opportunity for that in this series, especially if you're playing alongside Bam and the way they're playing you guys and dropping into the paint? Do you see an opportunity, to take that shot more often in this series?
I mean, the way they play defense, I mean, I'm not going to be jacking threes all game. I'm just, if I see an opportunity in a trail position, I'm gonna let it go. But that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to shoot threes all game. Like, I'm at the rim, I'm trying to protect the rim, get some rebounds. If there's an opportunity to space the floor with me and Bam, I'll take advantage of the opportunity. But like I said, we'll see what happens later on in the series.
Thanks, man.
All right, Dwayne, that's it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye. Have a good one.
All right, that was Dwayne Dedmon.
All right, everybody.
To all of you that are being here in the 5 Reasons pregame show, the third game of the first round of the Eastern Conference. Miami Heat down 2-0 in this series to start this third game. So let's read some of you guys' comment as we wait for the game to actually start, and we're going to have the live score here. We're not going to be playing the actual game. We don't have the copyright to do so for some of you that were asking here. So Let's show some messages here. Kryptonite, thank you. Giannis will be the MVP again. Thank you for your comments. Let's go Bam, make us great again. Thank you, Jose, for always being there and supporting us in our pregame shows here in the Fire Reasons YouTube channel. We appreciate it. We need a tighter game. Yes, we do. We need an effort from the entire team. Kryptonite, thank you for all your messages. David Smith, let's keep letting Ariza guard Giannis. He'll definitely clap him. Yeah, that's been a struggle there for the Miami Heat. Tyler's a secret weapon. I don't know if it's that secret. Kryptonite, he says, is in an island. We believe in you, Bam. Let's go. You all can touch Giannis. Good answer. Say I can play against everyone, period. Bam, fine and go off tonight. Hopefully build a machine that turns a reason to Jay Crowder. Other than that, we get swept. Thank you, David. Now Giannis and Brooks. Crowder is having bad playoff series. Well, I mean, Crowder and the Heat had a great run together, and that was it. I mean, nothing much to add there. If Ariza could knock down his threes consistently, that would be nice. Mr. Dedmon, Frank, thank you for being here with us. Dedmon, he's probably going to get a lot of minutes today. Again, a 10-day contract player getting an interview. Well, he was actually the higher scorer from last game for the Miami Heat with 19. So Drew Holiday Burner says you all down bad. Don't worry, we'll be back. Don't worry. The standard stand under the basket beat man. That was another NBA back in the day. Hi, our friend Paige. Bam and Jimmy gotta have a big game. Whoa, what's your prediction? Game 3. Hopefully the Miami Heat wins. Not only, I mean, we covered the Miami Heat here, so we have a little bit of a bias there. But we also want to see like a long, or I want to see a long series. So for that to happen, we have to actually get a Miami Heat win tonight. So that's what I'm rooting for sure. Hi to James. Heat will win tonight. Have faith. Ismael Badula said we really need this one. Heat Nation stand up. Yeah, we're waiting for the actual game to start. We're gonna have the live score here going on, and you guys can be talking about what's going on during the game, and I will be reading and posting questions and all that. Why are we not playing Belitza? Well, he played a lot in the last game, but the score was really open. He can shoot it, would bring Lopez out the paint. Well, Bielitsa hasn't been really in the primary rotation for Spoelstra this season, so I don't think he's going to play a lot of minutes. Heat Nation, let's have faith instead of just criticizing what's wrong in the first 2 games. You're right, Ismael. Jamar Mohamed, thank you for your comments. We'll win tonight. Jose Matos, thank you. Lisa Catherine says, Bucks got it lucky number 3. It's over. We'll see what happens, Lisa. Bucks are not that good. We're just playing too stagnant and no heart. Attack the basket more like we did in the finals. When it's starting, the game should be starting in, I mean, we're waiting for the actual TV channels to go on. So it should be 5 minutes or so. Bucks win by 20 points. Dylan Russell, thank you for all your comments. Thank you to all of you that are just getting here. If you just got here, this is the starting lineup for the Miami Heat. Goran Dragic, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Duncan Robinson, and Trevor Ariza. That's going to be the starting 5 tonight. So Goran Dragic coming in for Kendrick Nunn in the starting lineup. Remember to subscribe, to give it a thumbs up, to leave your comment here, and thank you for supporting 5 Reasons here in Miami. I think we have the best coverage for the Miami Heat, for the Miami Marlins, Florida Panthers, Miami Dolphins, Miami Kings, all that. Inter Miami as well, who play on Saturday. We play Olenek. Yes, you're right. Paul, thank you for your comments. When we attacked in the finals and had Olenek, we removed Anthony Davis from the paint. And what else? Yes, I feel like Heat will win this game 3, just like they did last year in the finals. Lakers won game 3 by home court. Dragic starting. Yeah, it's finally getting hot. Game started. Really excited. Have a lot of faith. So, yes, since the game starting, we're going to share here the live score so you guys can follow it here. You can comment on what's going on during the game here, and we will be checking it out and also responding to all your messages. Thank you very much again. And if you have to leave, you're going to watch it somewhere else, remember to come back for the post-game show that we're going to do here on the YouTube channel with the 5 Reasons team, hosted by Royal Shepherd. I hope Butler will play better this time. It's a must win. If we go down 3-0, it's over. We can't lose this one. Better getting popcorn thrown on Butler, getting popcorn thrown on him today. I don't think so. It's a home court and probably not gonna happen. Reason we're having problems because we have no big to remove Lopez from paint. Miami's too good of a team to let Bucks do whatever they want, and they're also missing a lot of shots where they're giving those shots. So I bet on Miami they better win. So yes, well if you want to bet, go to PricePicks.com, use the promo code 5FIVE, and you will get a 100% match on your deposit. You can bet on players, not only on the game itself or who's gonna win and all of that. So it's pretty funny. Thank you very much for being with us, and we'll be back here in a bit. So get ready.
for the stretch of years that this group has been together. And when they can get it, rolling and in their comfort zone, they can put up points in a hurry.
And then secondly, Goran said I had to ask you because he didn't want to talk about it. More him on the floor, obviously, the way he's playing right now can't be a bad thing. Is there an anticipation of that, particularly earlier in games?
I mean, it's not about the lineups, right now. It's about collectively, us doing things better than certainly than we did in game 2.
Next we go to Tim Reynolds.
Eric, you've spoken many times over the years about how competition is kind of a fundamental, part of the culture, and how you enjoy uncomfortable situations because there's a history of embracing these moments and not running from them. Does that give you any sense of comfort going into tomorrow and what that game's going to mean?
I wouldn't say comfort.
Comfort's definitely wrong. I get that.
But these are the playoffs. So there's a lot of unpredictable things that happen, and competition brings out everything. The best out of you, the worst out of you, probably everything in between. And we all want to respond. We all felt, that game 2 in particular stung. Both games really stung. But you have to move on. Give that extra day just to, live in that kind of whatever, But we got to get on. You got to get on, and we probably could have wished that this game was played today.
You're going to have 17,000 in the building tomorrow. I know you don't look around. I mean, I know you're focused on what's in front of you, but the fact that it will be as filled as can be, there's enough atmosphere back in this building for the first time in a long time. What sort of a bonus can that be?
I could speak for everybody in the locker room. We hope that the building is rocking. It's just been an extraordinary year, to go through everything and not really have the opportunity in front of our fans. Everybody in this league, has been a shame. And secondly, it's the playoff experience. You want to be able to have that.
Thank you.
Next we go to Anthony Chang.
So with the way Milwaukee's playing Bam and Jimmy, I know the easy thing to say just to be more aggressive, but how tricky is that balance of taking that mid-range shot they're giving you, obviously, or attacking their length while also still, keep operating in the flow of what you guys are doing?
Jimmy and Bam, don't need to be taught, how to, what kind of reads and everything to make. They'll both be assertive. They'll both make plays for our team. We all know that we have to be better than we were.
Thank you, Spo.
And next we go to Cooper Moorhead.
Spo, I know the tape from game 2 probably wasn't all that useful. But as far as the opportunities they were getting from 3, especially in those first 2 quarters, what did you see on tape, and kind of, are there any small things you guys need to clean up there?
Yeah, or small things, big things. I mean, that's what happens in a 7-game series.